My name is Bindu. I work with this organization called AECC Global as the head of operations for Tamil Nadu. AECC Global is a multinational education consultancy. What we do is we help students to go for higher studies abroad. We help students to identify the right course, right university, right country based on your requirements, your interest, your marks, the subject area you're interested. We help you, to identify the right, course for your higher studies abroad, and we help you with applications, we help you with documentations, we help you with visas, everything from the time you come to us till you reach your destination. We give all our services free of charge. That's what we do. And along with me, I have two of my colleagues, Yamuna and Jeevita, who will be answering your questions at the end of the session. So before I start, a few house rules. If you have anything to tell me, you can type in the chat box. But if you have questions, can you all see the question section in the next to chat? So you can put in your questions in the question area. And if you have to tell me like you can't hear or you can't see my screen, you can mention in the chat, but all your questions in the question section. So it's easier for my colleagues to answer the questions. End of the session, I will also take on the questions and I will, clarify all your doubts. All right. So I'm going to, I hope everybody can hear me. Can you all hear me? Can you just mention in the chat box? Janita or Monish, somebody, can you? Yeah, thank you, Monish. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen and you have to tell me you can see that as well. All right. So I'm going to give you some information about education overseas, about various countries, and how we AECC can help you. What are the entry requirements? What are the documentation required when you have to apply? What are the timelines? What kind of stay back options various countries offer? I'm going to give you all that information. Okay, so this is what we are going to talk to you about importance of education 21st century, the how we AECC Global can help you, our beliefs, why study abroad, who we are, our study destinations, the destinations which we can help you, important facts about various countries, entry requirements, documents required, and then at the end the questions. So 21st century and importance of education. In 21st century, I'm sure you students, all of you understand the importance of education, and there are a lot of advancements in technology. So you use internet, you use smartphones, everything, lot of information is available at your fingertips. So you know everything. So you actually don't need help because information is available. You know which course is good for you, what will help for your future, which universities are good for you, how you need to apply, all those informations. Okay. But how we can help you? So while I know there are a lot of information available online, but getting the right guidance that meets your needs is very, very difficult because it's too much of information. You really don't know which is correct, which is wrong, because it's too much of information. So that's where our role comes. We AECC Global, we can actually help you. Uh, okay, you can ask your questions in the questions box, and we will clear all your doubts at the end of the session. Okay. Okay, so this is where our role comes. We can help you identify the right university, right course. We can tell you whatever information you're collected on the internet. We can tell you which is correct, which is not correct, which would be appropriate for you, which will help you in future. So that's where our role comes, because everything is available online, but we can tell you, we can identify which is correct, which is not wrong, and which is good for you based on your requirements, based on your marks and your interest. So that's where our role comes. So our belief at ACC Global, we mentor students with the process of choosing the right course, university, destination that will best suit their needs and interests. We handpick the universities that we partner so that our students get the best in-class professors, study infrastructure, curriculum, and practical learning. So we help you in getting the best for you. Why should you consider studying abroad? There are a lot of advantages in studying abroad. Then the first main advantage is you as a student, you become independent. Here in India, you have your parents, you have your brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, they all helping you with everything. You know, they are there to assist you. If you need anything, they are there to help you. But when you study abroad, you become independent, you start doing everything yourself, taking care of your accommodation, looking out for part-time jobs, and going to the university, arranging everything, you manage your finances. So everything you start doing yourself and you become independent. That is, according to me, the first advantage of studying abroad. And it is also true that the quality of education in India is improving, but we have great professors and top universities. But getting into these top institutions, for example, like IIM, IIT, for their higher education, it's difficult. Only around top 1% of Indians can get into these top institutions. So, a lot of students go for higher studies because institutions abroad are really top quality. So, if everybody cannot get into IIT or IIMs, the best option is going into one of the top institutions abroad. Okay, so that's another advantage of studying abroad. The next advantage is the practical oriented nature of the courses offered by universities abroad. In India, our courses are more theoretical, whereas overseas the courses are more practical oriented. You will have very few exams. You will be assessed based on your classwork and assignments, project work, and you as a person will start thinking. You will go out of your boundaries. You will start making decisions, and that's another advantage of studying abroad: the practical nature of the course. And the next important advantage of studying abroad is your classmates will be people from various cultures, various countries, various backgrounds. You learn from them and they learn from you, so that the experience and exposure, and that is very important in today's job market, because you will be dealing with people from various countries, various cultures, various backgrounds in an organization. So if you study abroad, you will have that experience and you will know how to deal with them. And overseas degrees are always rated high by the various employers due to the practical nature of teaching. So you will definitely get a higher pay and a better job once you finish your studies abroad. So these are the various advantages of studying abroad. Yeah, I've already explained that to you, but again, I have listed it again here. Most of the overseas universities have very advanced infrastructure also, and they use very advanced teaching methods and laboratories. So that's another advantage. As I've told you, you will get better jobs and better pay. You grow your network. You get to meet people from various, backgrounds, various cultures, various countries. So you grow your network. You experience a cultural diversity. I've already explained that. You make new friends around the world. You learn more about yourself and your self awareness. That's, as I told you, you will go out of your box. You will, and again, because there are a lot of group discussions and everything, you as a person will change. Your interpersonal skills will improve. Your communication skills will improve. And most of these countries abroad, they have a stay back option. Students are allowed to stay back for 1 or 2 years to look out for work. And again, most of the students, it will boost your confidence and you become independent. I've also explained that you will become independent, and that's one of the first advantage of studying abroad, because once you're abroad, you do everything yourself. So these are the advantages of studying abroad. I've already told about us what we do. We actually started in 2008 in India, and we have our headquarters in Australia, and we have presence across 12 countries with 35 offices and one innovation center. And India, we have 14 offices, and Chennai, we have a counseling office, and it is situated in College Road, and that's where I am based. Yeah. So this is our timeline. As I told you, we started in 2008, and then how we grew from there, and now we are 2021, and with so many offices and presence in various countries. Our global network, yeah, we have offices in all these countries: India, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, Australia, Singapore, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Greece, Thailand, Bangladesh, 12 countries. And in India, this is where we have all the offices from New Delhi to Vizag. Yeah, we have offices in so many, so 14 cities. 2021, we have 14 cities. Again, I've told you what our services are. We help you with counseling, select your country, select your universities, course shortlisting, applications, guidance, SOP guidance, documentation, everything. You know, we give you information on accommodation, we give you pre-departure advice, everything. We also have IELTS coaching services happening in our offices. And we'll also give you information on scholarships as well. So that's our services. And the countries we can help you is United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, and we also, even though we have not mentioned, we also can help you with Dubai, Singapore. So these are the countries we can help you, even Malaysia. So next few slides, I'm going to give you a few facts about different countries so that you know, you get an idea how each country is, what is the duration, what is the cost, and things like that. Now, Australia is a very good country to do your higher studies in. Most of the universities are top rated. Australia is one country who has got maximum Nobel Prize winners. So you can imagine the quality of education. So Australia universities are very good for business related programs, engineering programs, computer science, and biotechnology, biomedical. There are quite a lot of options available in Australia. The duration of the programs is 2 years. It will approximately cost you around 30 to 35 lakhs, your tuition fees and living cost. Altogether, it is a 2-year program. It will cost you around 30 to 35 lakhs. That is your total expense. That is your tuition fees, living cost. Living cost is your food, accommodation, a bit of entertainment, and everything. Okay. Australia also offers quite a few scholarships to students based on your academic merit. It varies from partial scholarships to full scholarships. Once you finish your course, students are allowed to stay back for 2 years. It's called the post-study work visa. You're allowed to stay back for 2 years and look out for work. And Australia is a PR friendly. PR means permanent residency. PR friendly country. Once you finish your course, once you finish your 2-year post study work visa, you can apply for a PR. Permanent residency is given based on points. So they calculate based on your age, based on your IELTS score. IELTS is an English test which you have to take if you have to get an admission on any of the countries. So based on the IELTS score, your work experience, the degree you've done in Australia, they calculate the points. And if you get the sufficient points, then you get a permanent residency. So it is it's easy to get a permanent residency in Australia, provided you get all the points. So these are the advantage of studying in Australia. And there are a lot of job opportunities in various areas. A lot of my students, once they are there, they have managed to find jobs. And while you are studying, you're allowed to stay back for 2 years and look out for work. The Australia borders were closed so long due to the COVID pandemic. but they are planning to open it very soon. So the next coming intake for Australia is Q1 2022, but most of you are still studying. So by the time you finish in May 2022, the next intake, the Australia borders will be open because they are pretty much, vaccinating all their, citizens. So by the time you guys finish, the borders will be open and you can look out for options in Australia. UK is the next destination, a very, very good destination because UK has variety of courses. See, when you all do your undergrad degree, most of your undergrad degrees are very, very generic. Okay, either it's bachelor in mechanical engineering or bachelor's in computer science or bachelor's in IT. It's very, very generic. But if you are really looking to specialize, because when you do your masters, most of you would like to specialize. To give you an example, if you've done a bachelor's in computer engineering, some of you would want to specialize in networking or IT security or something like that. If you date big data, or if you want to specialize in data science or business data analytics. So there are variety of specialisms which is available in UK. So it's very, anything you want, a specific area, you name it, UK has it. That's big advantage of UK. And most of the master's program in UK is for 1 year. There are, UK also have courses which will offer you an internship option. That means, it will be a 2 year program. First year will be a theory, and second year they give a internship. It's a kind of a placement. The universities will help you with the interviews and everything. And if you get selected, you can work in a company for a year, and it is part of the course. You get the visa for both the years. And the good thing is, you get some experience working in a company, and if the company really likes you, they might absorb you as well. So UK also have internships options, which is for 2 years. And once you finish the course, UK also allows students to stay back for 2 years and look out for work. So that's another good thing about UK. And during this 2 years, again, if you find work, the employer can apply for your work permit. So that's a very good thing about UK. And the duration of the course, I told you, it's 1 year or 2 years if there is a placement year involved. And the cost, again, minimum, it depends on the university and the course you're taking. It varies from 25 lakhs to again 35 lakhs, depends on the university and the course. The total expense, 25 to 35 lakhs, tuition fees and living cost. Again, quite a lot of scholarships are available, from partial scholarships to full scholarships. So there are quite a lot of scholarships are available. Okay. And part-time jobs are available while you're studying, and you can earn back quite a lot of money what you're spending while doing part-time jobs. Okay, so that's about UK. Ireland. Ireland is again a very good destination. Ireland is very close to UK. Okay. Again, northern part of Ireland, the Northern Ireland is actually part of UK. UK. So the other part of Ireland, which is, is a separate country. So Ireland, again, the good thing, it's everything is very similar to UK. The duration of the course is 1 year. And once you finish the course, they allow students to stay back for 2 years and look out for work. It's called the post-study work visa. And very good thing about Ireland is most of the IT companies, pharmaceutical companies, manufacturing companies, gaming animation companies, medical companies, all of them have their headquarters based in Ireland because the corporate tax charged by the Irish government is very, very low. So the good thing about that is there are a lot of job opportunities. All of my students have gone there, especially the computer science, pharmaceuticals, biotech, food science, manufacturing, gaming and animation. A lot of finance companies also, if you're looking for something related to fintech, finance related courses, all those students have managed to find jobs, and they have a 2 year stay back as well. They also, because they are promoting education, there are a lot of scholarships also available. It's a very beautiful country. The population is very, very low. And because the population is very low, they need a lot of people to come over to Ireland and work. So, it's a very good option to look out for. So that's about Ireland. And the cost wise, as I told you, similar to UK, it will cost you again 25 to 35 lakhs maximum, depends on the university and the course, tuition fees and living cost. When I say 25 to 35, it includes everything, your total expense, including your tuition fees and living cost. Okay. Canada, again, very good option if you're looking to migrate and settle down. Again, Canada has a lot of institutions available. There are a lot of colleges, there are a lot of universities as well. And the good thing about Canada is they give you stay back options if 1 to 2 years or 3 years, depending on the course, duration of the course you're doing. And it's very easy to get a PR. So it is a very good opportunity if you get into Canada. And Canada, there are two kinds of courses, postgraduate diploma and masters. Postgraduate diploma, the duration varies 1.5 or 2 years, and masters is a 2-year program. Compared to other countries, the cost of studying in Canada is little lower. If other countries is 35 lakhs, here you can finish it by maximum 20, 25, minimum 15, 16 also. Yeah, it depends on the courses. And the colleges offer postgraduate diplomas or postgraduate certificates, which is more practically oriented. A lot of students from India goes for these postgraduate diploma because it's much easier to find jobs, because those courses are more practically oriented. But if you're looking for master's courses in Canada, more research oriented. So if you're looking for those kind of courses, research related courses, then master's is a good option as well. And yeah, I said I've already told you about the stay back option. I've told you about the costing, and PR, and it's very student friendly, and they are also very welcoming. They want people to come to Canada, and it's a huge country, so there is a lot of opportunities, a lot of job opportunities available. Yeah, so that's about Canada. USA, again, a very good option for engineering, mechanical engineering, automotive engineering, computer science, IT. A lot of options available. And now, because of the new president, everything is opening up. A lot of people are going now to use USA for higher studies. For USA, the only thing is, compared to the other countries, is USA requires a GRE or GMAT score to get into the courses. But that too, now due to COVID, a lot of universities are waiving off the GRE GMAT requirement as well. So currently, students are applying now. They do not. They are not, very insistent on a GRE score. But you never know. By the time you guys pass out, they might ask for it. So if you are looking at USA, especially for engineering, computer science, those kind of programs, please start preparing your GRE, because that is very important. Even for your visas, they will ask for GRE. USA, again, the duration is 2 years. It will cost you, again, approximately 30 to 35, 36 lakhs. If your program comes under the science and engineering scheme, you will get a 36-month stay back in USA. If it is a business related courses, then it is a 1 year stay back what you will have. Okay, lot of scholarships available. You can do part-time jobs while you're studying. A lot of scholarships available. If you have excellent GRE, if your percentages are really good, there are scholarships which you will get. Sometimes once you go there and you start studying, if you perform really well in your first semester, there are chances of getting scholarships while you're studying as well. So that's the good thing about USA. And they also have very specialized courses available. Variety of courses are available. Okay. And IT and all, I don't have to tell you, the Silicon Valley is based there. So a lot of job opportunities are there. Okay. So that's about USA. So these are the main countries. I have not spoken about New Zealand currently. Due to COVID, the New Zealand borders are not open. So that's why I've not spoken. But by the time you guys pass out, I'm sure they will be open. So New Zealand is also a very good option if you're looking to migrate. But the only issue with New Zealand is that they don't have very specialized courses. Most of the courses are very, very generic. So you have to do a generic, but again, once you're there, once you finish your course, they have a 2 to 3 years stay back. And once you find a job, it's the job offer will give you the maximum points for the PR. So it's very easy to get a PR in New Zealand. And again, the population is very low, so they need a lot of people. It is a nice place, zero pollution, and zero violence. So it's a very good place to settle down. Yeah. So that's about New Zealand. Singapore, Dubai, again, they are just 4 hours from here. And there are a lot of UK and Australia universities having their campuses in Singapore and Dubai. So, you can look at that options. The good thing of studying in Singapore or Dubai is that you don't have to go all the way to UK or Australia, do your course. You can just go 4 hours to Dubai or Singapore, study in their one of the university's campuses and get a UK or Australia degree. And even your expense will be low compared to studying in UK and Australia. So that's the advantage of studying in Singapore and Dubai. And Dubai, again, another advantage here is your classes usually happen after 6 in the evening. So morning hours, you're free to work and earn some money. So these are the advantages of Singapore and Dubai. Now, entry requirements. All these universities abroad, be it any country, they look for a very good percentage in your undergrad degree, at least a first class. So, a decent average university looks for 60-65%. And if you're looking for a little more top universities, maybe 70-75%. There are universities also sometimes accepting 50-55% also, but it's always good to have a 60% if you have to get into a decent good university. So if you guys are still studying, you have not yet finished, you've got one more semester or one more year to go, please try to get a very good first class so that you get into a good university. Backlogs. Again, there are some countries, to give you a few examples, US, Australia, Canada, they all don't like backlogs. So if you have too many backlogs, getting an admission or visas in Canada is very difficult. Similarly for US, Australia also, most of the Australian universities will not accept more than 5 or 6 backlogs, or maximum 13 is what they will take. Anything more than that, it's very, very difficult. So Australia, Canada, and US are worried about backlogs. So try and reduce the number of backlogs. Okay. But there are countries like UK, Ireland, and all who are not worried about backlogs. They will accept backlogs, but they look at your overall percentage. If you have a decent first class, they are not worried about the backlogs. The only thing they are worried is you should have completed your degree. But if you're really focused on Australia, Canada, and US and all, please make sure you don't get backlogs. Up to 4 or 5, I think should be okay. But anything more than that depends on the university. Some will accept, some will not, but try to reduce. But as I told you, UK and Ireland and all will accept backlogs also. English qualifications. Again, most of these countries would require an English qualification, IELTS, TOEFL, or PTE. They know we Indians, our medium of instruction is English, but sometimes students write good English, but when it comes to speaking, they find it difficult. So that's the reason the universities ask for English qualification, because you should understand the lectures. You should you should know how to write the project work, your assignments, and all these English professors, they have accents. So it's important your English is good to pass the exam. So that's the reason they're asking for these IELTS, TOEFL, or PT. Some UK universities might waive off this requirement if your marks in your 12th standard English is very good. It depends on the university again. Some university will accept around 70%, some will accept 75, some will say they would want 80-85%. Your 12th standard English percentage, they look at it in UK universities. But most of the other countries, they would require the English qualification, especially Canada. Canada, most of the institutions will not allow you to apply to the universities without the IELTS score. So people who are passing out next year and all, no, start preparing for your IELTS now. Take up the exam. IELTS, TOEFL, PT is valid for 2 years. So, take it up and keep it ready so that when you are ready to apply, you have everything in hand so that, you can submit your applications. Canada and all without IELTS, you cannot submit. Very rare, one or two universities will accept without IELTS, but all others, you should have IELTS. So start preparing your IELTS if you're looking at Canada and all. Okay. Then the next requirement is your GRE GMAT. I told you for US, GRE GMAT is a requirement. Now, due to COVID, they are very, very flexible. Some of them are not asking for it, but by the time you guys pass out, all this COVID should go. We don't know. It's not in our hands. And if they make it strict, you need your GRE. If it is an engineering program, GRE. If it is a management program, a GMAT. So yeah, please start preparing for it so that you have it ready by the time you apply to the universities. And then your work experience certificates. If you have any work experience, internships, anything related to your course, it will really, really give you an advantage. So if people have not started doing, you're in the first year, second year, you have a lot of time. You have to, by the time you go for your master's, do some small internships, some certificate courses, get a certificate which is related. It will give you an advantage for your admissions. Okay, so that's the entry requirements. Now, when I'm talking about the undergrad degree with the first class, usually, for example, somebody is passing out in May 2022. So for the intake for them to go abroad would be September 2022. So when you have to apply to the universities. So if you're passing out in May 2022, now is the right time to start applying to the universities. So that means September, October of the previous year is the right time to apply if you're planning to go abroad in September 2022. That means 2021, September, October is the right time to apply for September 2022. Why? Because universities give admission on a first come, first serve basis. Then you all might be thinking, see, I have not completed my degree. I have only my few semesters mark sheets. You can apply with whatever semester mark sheets you have. The university knows somebody's got 65 or 70% up to the sixth or seventh semester will definitely get a similar percentage in the final year. It can't go down, it can only go up unless you have not studied at all. Okay, so they will say with whatever mark sheets you are given, your percentage, whatever 70 or 75, we can see, we are happy with that marks. We will give you a conditional offer. Conditional on you have to complete your degree with a first class or whatever percentage you have scored so far. With a similar percentage, you have to complete your degree. They'll give you a conditional offer. So my advice here is, students, you need to apply to universities well in advance. Seats are given on a first come first serve basis. You don't have to wait till you complete your degree to apply. If you wait till the last minute, you'll be too late. So apply for it when you're in your third year, so that you have sufficient time to get your admissions. And most of these scholarships, they have early deadlines. If September 2022 is going, the scholarship deadlines will be March, April of 2022. So if you apply now only, you will get the admission and then you can apply for the scholarship. So please apply well in advance. In your third year, when you're finishing your third year, you finish applying so that final year you're free to finish your project work and everything. So finish off your IELTS, GRE all before that and start applying to the universities. Even English, IELTS, TOEFL at your time of your application, if you don't have it, don't worry. Universities will give you a conditional offer and you can apply for it later, except Canada. Canada, you require your IELTS to apply to the universities. All other universities will give you a conditional offer. You can give it later, except Canada. Okay, so that's about the entry requirements. Documents required. You need to submit all your mark sheets when you're applying. That is your 10th, 12th, Degree mark sheets up to what semester you have. The final semester or seventh or semester you don't have it, it's fine. Whatever you have, you submit. English qualifications, again, if you have your TOEFL or IELTS ready, you can submit. But Canada, they require it. So if you're looking at Canada, make sure you take it up. So that is required. 2 reference letters are very, very important from your professor on an original letterhead, signed and sealed in a cover. Okay. And the professor should comment about your abilities and capabilities. If you're applying for IT security, so you have to get it from your IT professor who have taken any of the modules related to the course you're applying for, and he can comment about your abilities, capabilities, your knowledge about the subject, whatever. Okay, because I have seen reference letters from colleges where it is mentioned so and so is a student of this college, his character is good. That is not a reference letter, that is a bona fide certificate. So we don't, universities don't accept that kind of reference letters. Your reference letter should be at least a paragraph where your professor comments about your abilities and capabilities related to the subject. And reference letters play a major role in your admissions. Okay. And the next document is your statement of purpose. A very, very, very important document, because here in India, when you go for your admissions, when you went for your undergrad admissions, they would have called you for a interview. Similarly, when you apply to these universities, they cannot call you for an interview all the way to UK or Australia or US. So instead of that, they will look at the statement of purpose. Statement of purpose will speak for you. It is a one and a half page document, maximum 2 pages, where you tell about yourself. You tell about your education, you tell about your background, you tell about your extracurricular activities, work experience, internship. You tell why you are interested in this program, what is your future plans, how will you benefit out of this course, why this particular university, why this country. So basically you tell them about yourself, why you want to do, how, what is your future plan. They want to know whether you are a genuine student, are you very serious about the studies and all those things. So statement of purpose also plays a major role in your admission. So you have to write excellent statement of purpose. You can always prepare a rough draft, come and show it to my counselors. They can fine tune it for you based on the requirement. But that is a very, very important document. Okay. It's like you speaking to them and they make a decision on your application based on the statement of purpose. So reference letter, statement of purpose, very, very important for you to get an admission. Okay. Then the passport copy. You cannot travel abroad without the passport. So passport is very, very important. Anybody who is planning to study abroad should apply for your passport at the earliest. Even if you have to sit for your IELTS or TOEFL exams, you require your passport. So if you do not have a passport, please apply for it at the earliest. Again, work experience certificates, internships, all that will give you an advantage. So these are the documents you need to submit when you apply to the universities. So what next? So I've given you a brief on why study abroad, what are the advantages, we as AECC, how we can help you. And then I told you a bit about individual countries. I can't go in detail. If I go, it will go for hours. But if you have further details, you need to get in touch with us. So I told you individually about countries. Then I told you about entry requirements. Then I told you what documents are required. So what is the next step? So next step is, I hope you guys can see my screen clearly. The next step is you need to walk into our AECC office, or we also have a virtual office. So I'll give you the link at the end of the session. You can always come to us, attend a counseling session with our counselors. My counselors are all well trained. They have been in the industry for so many years. Some of them have studied abroad. They have lived there. Some of them have visited all these universities. So they're very, very experienced counselors I have. And I have specific country counselors also. So if you require information of specific countries, they can help you out. So walk into your office, attend a counseling session, select the universities. The counselors will sit with you. They will help you identify the right course, right university, right country based on your requirements, interest, your marks. And then we can shortlist the universities, and then we help you with the application preparation, and then we apply to the universities for you. And once you apply to the universities, we are in touch with the universities on a daily basis. We have tie-ups with you more than 3,000, 4,000 universities all over the world. So we can follow up regarding your offers. If there's an issues, we can sort it out for you and then help you get an admission. Once you get your admission, you have to accept your offer. Once you accept the offer, you have to apply for your accommodation. And once you do that, and then we help you with the financial documents for the visas. Each country has their own financial requirements. To give you an example, Australia, you will have to show 3 months old funds. Ireland, you have to show 6 months old funds. UK, you have to show 1 month old funds. It depends. It depends on each country. They have various requirements. Some countries will ask for IT returns of your sponsor, your parents. Some don't. So we will advise you based on the country, your country, what are the financial documents required. We will help you apply for the visa, and once you get your visa approval, we will help you get in touch with other students going, to your same university or to the same place, and you can form a group, book your flight tickets together, and you can fly to your destination. So this is what you need to do. So the first step is get in touch with my office, walk into my office, and then attend your counseling. And I would always tell students, plan everything well in advance, because unless you plan last minute, it will be very difficult for you student as well as for us to arrange everything, because we always tell students it's a 1 year process. So when you in your third year, you need to start coming to us, collecting information. Even if it's in the second year, it's fine. Come collect information so that you know what to expect. If you have to prepare your IELTS, GRE, so that you can do it well in advance. Bring in your parents as well, because they are the ones who are going to fund you. So we can tell your parents how much funds are required, in what form, what is the duration the money has to be held in the account. We can tell them all. If you tell them at least 2 years before, they can start planning, start preparing. You also can prepare what all is required, so that by third year you finish applying to the universities, and fourth year you're free to do your project work and other things. Okay, so that is the process. And this is our contact details. You can get in touch with us. You guys can take a screenshot of it. This is our address. We are based in Nungambakkam, College Road. We are on the same building as the gaming center, Mystery Rooms. And we are also right opposite to the Regional Meteorological Center, the Weather Report Office. We are right opposite to the Weather Report Office, and in the same building as the where we have the gaming center as well. Mystery Rooms. The gaming center is called Mystery Rooms. So that's our address, and that's our mobile number. And this is the link. We also have a virtual office if you guys cannot walk in. Again, coming and meeting us face to face will be more effective than doing a virtual. But again, due to the pandemic, if you guys are really busy, you cannot come, you can always come to a virtual office. That's the link for a virtual office. It's open every day 9 to 5:30, and my counselors are available to speak to you. At least to get the initial information, you can come onto a virtual office, and then you can decide if you want to come and meet us in person. So that's our address. And we also have a toll-free number. If you guys want to reach us on that as well, you can do that. And that's the toll-free number. You can take a screenshot. Okay, and now I will go to questions. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope my presentation was useful to you, and I hope I have given you a brief about studying abroad. And now you can ask me questions. You can also meet us and in person and clarify your doubts. Okay. How can I contact you? Please share my WhatsApp group link or Gmail or contact number. So, okay, Ari Setti Shahid. Okay, my colleagues have already answered your question, Ari Setti. Tejaswini, is GRE compulsory required for all countries for doing masters in biomedical engineering? Tejaswini, it is required only for US. US also now due to the pandemic, they are very flexible. Some of the institution waiving of the requirement. By the time you guys pass out, uh, it might be required. We can't say. So it's better you prepare for it. Okay, my colleague is already responded. Monish Raj is asked after my UG, if I want to work for 1 2 years, then I want to pursue master. Will I be eligible for a scholarship? Scholarship is not based on the work, Monish. Scholarships is based on your academic merit. Okay. If your percentages are really good, you never even work. They will look at the overall application. Basically, work is extraordinary, and they feel it is really good. There are chances, but it's not only work. The scholarships is based on your marks, your statement of purpose, your work, everything is, they look at the overall application to give you a scholarship. But work will really, really help you, once you finish your course, when you look out for jobs, the work will help you. It will give you an advantage to get a job if you're planning to work for 1 or 2 years. But a lot of students don't want to waste 1 or 2 years. They want to just finish studying first and then look out for work. Again, work experience, if you're looking for an MBA to get into a good universities abroad, MBA requires minimum 2 to 3 years of work experience. They look for mature students for MBA because the system overseas is totally different from India. Because in India, we all, even me, after my graduation, I went on to do an MBA. Whereas overseas, most of the students don't do an MBA immediately after their graduation. They work for a few years, then they do an MBA to get promotions, to climb up the corporate ladder. Okay. So, when you go into an MBA classroom, your classmates will be people from, where, senior level management of various companies. You might even see a vice president of a company as your classmate, because they do MBA after few years of work experience. Yeah. So if you have to get into a top business school overseas, they require work experience. There are also fresh graduate MBA for students without work experience. But again, the experience will be different. It's more theory. There is practicals, but when you go to a mature MBA, it is more of practicals. There's a lot of group discussions. People with experience will say, when I was in a company, I had a situation like this. This is how I dealt with it, and they will ask you to share your experience. If you don't have work experience, then you will find it difficult. So work experience really help if you're looking for an MBA program. Okay. So I think I've answered your question, Monish. Arisetti, I had completed my education 2 years ago. Now I'm doing job. Next year I will go to masters. Is letter from professor required? Yes. For your, whether you have finished your course or you're working, doesn't matter. When you apply for your masters, you need at least one reference letter from your professor who have taken classes for your undergrad, because your master's admission is based on your undergrad degree. So I know when you're working, going back to the college after 2 to 3 years is very difficult, but you have to get at least one reference letter you can get from your employer, not an issue, but at least one from your professor is mandatory. Okay, because master's admission is based on your undergrad. All right, Adiseti. Next is Arush. So applying for programs related to techno management, are there any prerequisites or IELTS will do? IELTS is required for most of the countries. I've told you, especially for USA and all, IELTS is mandatory. UK, some of the universities might waive off the requirement based on the 12th English percentages. Other than IELTS, your admissions are based on your undergrad marks, your statement of purpose, And yeah, any internship work experience you have, it all, yeah, it all, they look at all when they give you an admission, not just IELTS. Okay, Arush. Tejaswini, what are the procedures to get scholarship for biomedical engineering masters in Canada? Tejaswini, scholarships, again, my colleague has already answered, is based on your undergrad marks. And each universities, they mention for scholarships in their website. You can also get in touch with my counselors. They can give you the information as well. But scholarships are strictly based on your undergrad marks, based on your performance. All right. Monish, what are the criteria? Monish has written, what are the criteria for scholarship to get in Canada, US? Yeah, again, it's the same answer, Monish. It's based on your undergrad marks and your statement of purpose and what all you have done extracurricular. They look at the overall application to give you scholarship. Do we have biomedical engineering masters in Canada? Yes. Najiba, yes, we do have biomedical engineering programs in Canada. Manasa, is it possible to get a full ride scholarship for masters in USA, UK, Germany? Full funding for any of the courses is very limited, but there are a lot of partial. Full funding is available, but very, very competitive. And as I've told you, it's strictly based on your undergrad marks. So it is possible, very, very competitive. My counselors can give you information, we can apply and see. But there are a lot of partial scholarships which you can apply, again based on academic merit, but the competition is much lesser than the full scholarships. Okay, so that's Manasa. Then Ariseti, I heard that Italy provides education free of cost. Okay. Italy, Germany, and all, they say there is no fees and things like that. But again, you have to check how recognized they are. There might be one or two institutions, but unfortunately, we don't do Italy. So it will not be right on my part to give any wrong information on Italy. We do not do Italy, so I really don't know. But please check, whoever you are checking this with, make sure if those courses are recognized. I have heard, even I have heard Italy offers free education, but Italy is good for some architecture programs, not all areas. But that's all I have information. I don't want to give a wrong information about something which I don't know. Okay, Ariseti. Manasa's question, which is preferred globally, IELTS or TOEFL? Manasa, both IELTS and TOEFL are accepted by the university, so you can take any one of them. We also do IELTS coaching. Due to pandemic, our trainer is doing it online. If you can get in touch with our counselors, we can give you the contact details of our trainer, and you can speak to him. So it's an online, he does very personalized coaching. It is not done in batches. He does it individually based on the timing of the student. So you can always get in touch with my counselor. They can give you the contact details. Yamuna, Jeevita, can you just put our virtual office link in the chat box so that the students can take it, and the contact number? So get in touch with my counselors. They can give you the details of the IELTS trainer. What Arush is asking, what countries provide programs related to techno management? Arush, almost all countries has the program what you're looking for. So again, get in touch with my counselors. They'll give you a detailed counseling based on your interest. They will help you shortlist the right course and right country for you. Okay. And could you kindly tell me, is it possible to do masters in technology? Yes, you can do, Arush. So again, what exactly you're looking in techno management? Discuss with my counselors. They can guide you accordingly, Arush. Ariseti, which country is budget friendly and get PR easily on MS in data science? Ariseti, so most of the countries costing wise is similar. Canada, UK and all little more cheaper. And there are a lot of good options in data science. Ireland, UK, and all. Ireland, especially, I told you, IT related courses. Most of the IT companies have the headquarters, so getting jobs is much easier. Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is part of UK, all these places are very good option if you're looking for data science. And all my students have gone there, have got their jobs. They're working in big companies like Microsoft and IBM. So please get in touch with my counselors. Again, they can guide you, Harisetti. Tejasri, which is the best country for cybersecurity? Yeah, my colleague has given you the right information. Look at Ireland, USA, UK, and Canada. All these countries have very good cybersecurity options available. Ma'am, can you arrange any scholarship for abroad studies? Nitish, scholarships are based on your undergrad percentages. Most of the countries and universities have good scholarships available, but it's based on your marks. So, again, for you to know if you are eligible, get in touch with my counselors and they can help you out. Okay. Tejaswini's question, which is the best country for masters in biomedical engineering? Again, my counselors have put the details. Ireland, UK, USA, Australia. They all have biomedical courses, Mansa. Masters in biomedical preferred in USA, UK, or Germany. I would say USA and UK, Manasa, is a very good option for biomedical. Germany is very good for automotive engineering. Very good for automotive engineering, Manasa. Nitish, I'm looking for masters in drug design. Ireland or UK is the best option for drug design. Pharmaceuticals, drug design. Go to Ireland, Nitish. Your life will be made. 100% jobs. All the pharmaceutical companies are based in Ireland. So I think you should go to Ireland, Nitish. Manasa, biomedical, bioengineering, Manasa, UK, USA. Manasa, biomedical bioengineering, UK, USA would be a very good option. Have a look at it. Get in touch with my counselors. Sai Sandeep. Hi, there is no option for selection in Germany. I'm looking for robotics course in Germany. Unfortunately, Sandeep, we don't deal with Germany. There is this place called DAAD. If you're looking for Germany, get in touch with them. Sandeep, if you want to make a note of it, it's DAAD. Google it and find the contact details in Chennai. Their office is somewhere in Nongambakam. You can get information regarding Germany from them. Okay, Sandeep. Next is Ari Setti. Which country is best of masters in artificial intelligence? I like to okay. Artificial intelligence again. Ari Setti, USA, Canada, Australia, UK. They all have good courses in artificial intelligence. Okay, so again, based on your requirements, whether you are eligible, discuss with my counselor and then you can decide on the best country which is suitable for you, Ariseti. Benjamin Isaac, MTech biotechnology in either forensic sciences or genetics. And MTech biotechnology. Okay. MTech, you're looking for an MTech biotechnology. Okay, so okay, you are currently doing an undergrad in biotech and you're looking for a master's in biotech, right? See, overseas, you will not get a title called MTech. Okay, overseas, most of the master's program is called masters or a master of technology, something like that. So, yeah, there are options available in all these country except Germany. Germany we don't do, but you can check if options are there in Germany, Benjamin. For Germany, I told you get in touch with DAAD. Google it, you'll get the contact details. But other countries, yes, there are courses related to forensics and genetics. There are a lot of courses related, but it doesn't come under the terminology biotech. We have courses like masters in forensic sciences, or we also have masters in genetic engineering. Those kind of programs are available. Again, get in touch with my counselors and they can help you out. Why don't you provide services for January in the registration forms in Germany? Yeah, yes, Benjamin, we don't deal with Germany. That's why Germany is not appearing, Benjamin. Again, because we don't do it, we don't want to give you any wrong information, Benjamin. So get in touch with DAAD. So I have pretty much cleared all the questions. Is there any new questions? Okay, Preetham, which US university best for computers? Okay, in computer science, Preetham, again, there are top universities in US, say like Carnegie Mellon, MIT, excellent universities, but that doesn't mean that every student can get into these universities. So we need to first look at your marks, assess your profile, look at your marks, look at your GRE scores, look at your TOEFL scores, and then if you're US alone, it's a little different process because we have to assess your profile before we give you the short list of the universities. But there are around 3,000 institutions in US, and there are quite a lot of them that are top rated. So Preetham, get in touch with my counselors to know the top institutions for which you are eligible for. Okay. Sai Sandeep, is Germany good for robotics? Yes, Germany is good for robotics and automotive engineering, Sai Sandeep, but we don't represent Germany, so you will have to look out somewhere else to get the details. Anusha, ECE, yes, USA, UK, Canada. My counselor has already responded. Okay, Najiba. Okay, so those answers are all done. Srivari, do I need work experience after UG to pursue? No, work experience is not required, Srivari. Immediately after your undergrad, you can do your master's. Anusha, in USA, which university is best and affordable for masters? Anusha, USA, there are a lot of top universities, as I've told you, 3,000 institutions. But USA, based on your profile, we have to tell you which university is suitable for you. Maybe top universities are there, but you might not be eligible based. So we have to first assess your profile. But there are quite a lot of top rated universities in USA. Okay. So I think we are done with the questions. Okay, which US university best for master's? STEM program is best in USA. Yeah, USA STEM programs, you get a 36-month stay back if your course is under the STEM. Yeah. Yamuna or Jeevita, can you just put our contact details in the chat box? Can you just put the contact details and our virtual office link as well? Thank you, Yamuna. If students, if you see, my colleague has put our office address and phone number in the chat box, and she will also be putting our virtual office link. So if you guys want to meet the counselors, you can come in and meet them. So I think we are done with the questions. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope I've given you a uh, brief, basic information of studying abroad. If you need any detailed counseling, please get in touch with us. Please plan everything well in advance. Do not wait till the last minute. If you apply well in advance, you have time to get your admission, apply for the scholarships, and for us also it will be easier because and even your parents can keep the funding ready. All right, so that's about it. It's already 3:38, so yeah. So thank you so much for listening to me. If you don't have any further questions, I will end the session. I can see Janita's typing something. And I would like to thank Satyababa Institute of Science and Technology to giving me this opportunity, and also Swarnalata ma'am, Dean Higher Studies, who agreed to give me this opportunity to speak to all of you. So yeah, thank you so much, Swarnalata ma'am, if you are there. And thank you, all of you. Thank you, Janita and Monish, for answering. Whenever I said, can you hear me or can you see my presentation? So thank you, Monish and Janita. And thank you all. Please get in touch with us if you have any further queries. Thank you, guys. Bye. Stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.